Welcome to another episode of the Super Intelligent Podcast. I'm Emily Forlini, and I'm here with my co-host, Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Not much, just hanging out. I'm in Oaxaca, Mexico. It's a beautiful town with delicious food, and I'm really excited about what's happening in the wonderful world of technology. Of course, half of it is horrible, but the other half that isn't horrible is actually quite wonderful. There's a lot of amazing things going on.
Yeah, so what's on your mind today? What do you have for us?
Well, you know about my obsession with smart glasses,
I
and
do.
I was super impressed by Brilliant Labs' new announcement, which is a pair of smart glasses that, at least from what we can tell based on what they've said, is really innovative, really, really innovative. And you think to yourself, well, what could possibly be innovative about smart glasses? Because smart glasses are like these things you put on your face. They have a camera, they look at things, there's AI you can talk to. Maybe the more advanced versions are give you a little screen so you can get some visual information as well that connect to the
That
internet, usually
sounds
through your phone.
advanced to me, to be honest. I think a lot of the tech's pretty interesting.
Yes, all of that is advanced, to be sure, and it's difficult because of the battery requirements, the energy requirements, latency, heat, all that stuff. It's technologically difficult, just what I described. But Brilliant Labs is doing a bunch of things that are really amazing. So, for example, let's get started. So, the leader in AI glasses is Ray-Ban Meta glasses. Unfortunately, Meta is the leader, and I think they fell ass backwards into it by accident, and while they were chasing the metaverse, and now they're kind of owning it. But the key innovation for those, one of the core things that made them popular is they were $300. They could achieve that price point, I think, partly by losing money. I think they're losing money on those glasses. I assume they are. But also they had no screen. So there's no visual for the wearer. They have a camera, which is a nice camera. They have speakers and microphones, which are high quality, higher quality than previous glasses had. But the $300 is considered the minimum price point for reasonable quality AI glasses that don't have visuals. Brilliant Labs Halo smart glasses that they announced are $299 and they have visuals. So I've never heard of smart glasses that give you a little screen in your vision that are $300. So that's an innovation right there.
So wait, do people know what Brilliant Labs is? I actually don't. What is that
I
company?
think, isn't Brilliant Labs the company that had the monocle?
I don't remember that, but what?
Let me look this up. I believe
They put the monocle on and they were like, brilliant.
Well, so first of all, it's an open source project. They've been sort of a Kickstarter, kind of a scrappy startup, kind of open sourcey kind of thing, like not exactly Meta, not exactly Apple, right? Sort of the opposite of Apple, where they're kind of a scrappy startup with, a few people, small group. But I don't remember if they're the monocle people or not, but they've had a pair of smart glasses before that were kind of like, eh. And so these are quite interesting in a number of ways. They hit some interesting points. So one of them is that they have an agentic memory system called Narrative. And what it does is it works like the BAI system. You know, the BAI, Leo has that with a wristband where it listens to everything all the time, and then it compiles all this information. And it tells you about yourself. It's like, oh, you really seem to like cats and blah, 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 blah. And you can recall conversations you had, like what did the other person tell me when, yesterday afternoon, and it will tell you. Like it basically, it's
what did my wife tell me to pick up from the store? And it's like,
exactly.
milk.
Right, exactly. Or my wife said that I didn't say this. Did I say that? Oh, I didn't. Oh, that's too bad.
Yes, you
I won't
did.
mention
You
it then.
are an asshole.
Exactly. It's agreeing with my wife that I'm an asshole. So that kind of thing. So it's it does that, right? But not unlike the BAI system, which uses only audio, this uses audio and the camera to hoover up everything that you're experiencing and then be able to give you, it stores the information on the glasses, I guess, or in an app or something,
The cloud.
supposedly privately and encrypted. And then it can tell you information, sort of give you, total recall or photographic memory about things, including people's names. What was the name of that person I met last week at the Comic-Con?
That's actually
Spider-Man.
impressive.
I see.
That's impressive because, actually, that's a good example. I feel like sometimes AI products don't know brand names, especially unusual brand names. So have you heard of Plod? Not Claude. P as in pancake, Plod.
Plod. No, I haven't.
So they have a recording device that's actually really popular, and it's like an AI recording and transcription device, which is for some reason a new concept. I think they're using more AI, different techniques. But they said their own device doesn't know the name plod and gets it wrong every time because it's not in the dictionary. So AI is like, I don't know what that word is. And so it's kind of, it would transcribe it with crazy letters, or actually it changes it to Claude, which is, of course, another popular AI. So I wonder if these glasses would actually get the names right, like, get all this unique information actually correct.
Well, that in general is the entire issue. These are all claims, and I've just barely gotten started with the list of innovative features, but
Hmm,
they could be crap for all we
right.
know.
But is this brand new? Like they just came out this week?
They haven't come out. They've announced it. And so it's something that is coming in November for probably early adopters, something like that. A company like this is not like, it's not Apple. Again, they're not going to ship 5 million units on day one. They're going to ship 5,000 units on day one, something like that. But still, what we're seeing is a broad range of entrants into the AI glasses market, and we'll see where the popularity falls, right? So I'd love to see this kind of innovation. And this is the kind of thing that I would personally love to see. I love the idea of a prosthetic device, which in fact glasses are, that can compensate for aspects of my own brain that fall short of omniscience and superhuman cognition, right? So photographic memory would be great, right? And something like this can give it to us very easily. So anyway, let's go through some of the more
All right, let's hear it.
features. So there's an AI agent called NOAA,
Okay,
and
that's a very
NOAA
popular,
is,
friendly name.
yes, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric.
That Noah. Okay, got
No, it's
it.
spelled NOA, and it also is connected to this visual system. And this is another innovation, in my opinion, which has a retro arcade style UI. So there are a number of ways you could go with the visuals. You could do something like Apple Vision Pro, which is very high end, very high resolution, looks fantastic, costs a fortune, and weighs a ton, right? That's not the right thing for glasses you're going to wear around all day. So they're going low tech with the visuals, low resolution, which will save them money, will save them weight. These are very light. I'll get to that in a minute, but they're owning it by making it arcade style, sort of retro looking, 8-bit kind of a thing, right? So I think that's the way to go, because there's a certain appeal to that. There's a certain, they're sort of not pretending like it's a high resolution screen. They're leaning into the low resolution nature of this visual system, which I think
Which
is great.
it's great, but Apple and Meta, they don't have the luxury to do that because people would just be like, this is a crap product.
Absolutely.
Like, that's a feature of a product with more freedom and, frankly, lower expectations. But it's,
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get
yeah,
there. And I remember when the Palm Pilot came out many, many years ago, Microsoft was really leaning into, and so was Apple, into the high resolution visuals and the GUI, like, interfaces and stuff like that. And they came out and said, oh, this thing is barely legible. It's got really low resolution. And everybody loved it because it was long battery life and functional. And the way they did everything was just very direct. You could get straight to your information. And so I think there's a place for that, and I like that they're sort of leaning into that. The other one is the audio is through bone conduction. This could be a hit or miss, but there's these weird circular things on the end of the temples, I think they're called, on the glasses. That may be the bone conduction. The bone conduction may actually be in this part. I don't know,
that's
but
a crazy term, bone conduction.
well, it's something that comes and goes. I think I could be wrong, but I think that Ray-Ban Meta glasses are partly bone conduction and partly audio, but I could be mistaken about that. But they managed to give you audio. Okay, let's talk about Ray-Ban Meta glasses. The audio is inaudible to other people besides the wearer in a normal place where there's some ambient noise. But if you're in an elevator that's very quiet or something like that, everybody else can hear it. That's
That's actually kind of funny. That could be a good skit.
funny.
SNL, South Park, we
Yes,
talked about last week. Get on it.
exactly. It also confirms that you're not an insane person talking to themselves. They can hear that you're on a call or whatever. But I've used bone conduction before where nobody can hear it, even in a quiet elevator. And that's kind of nice, except it sort of vibrates. It kind of tickles a bit. It's a little weird and it's not ideal. It's no good for music and it's not as good as the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. So that could be good. It could be bad. It's not going to be great.
But it's what, creating a sound superhighway through your bones?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The first bone conduction device I ever heard of was when I was a kid. And it was a pair of speakers that you draped over your shoulders and it connected to your collarbone and vibrated your skeleton and you could hear it.
I
Very
mean,
strange. It
crazy.
works.
I've heard of, other parts of the body with tech. There's voice recognition, face recognition, there are fingerprints, but bones, I mean, we're going deep. This is like, nothing is off limits.
Skeletor is very excited about this
But
technology.
yeah, this is Skeletor's big day. This is the dawn of a new era for those giant Halloween skeletons everyone
Oh,
puts outside
yes.
their homes.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need this device. They should put
They
wearables
do.
on them.
They do. It's going to cost them a few bones, but they do need it. So you love vibe stuff. You vibe mode, vibe this, vibe coding, vibe all that stuff. Well, this has vibe mode, and this is the most insane feature of this product. It has something called vibe mode, which lets you create apps through the glasses by talking. So you talk to the glasses, and it will create an app for the glasses while you're
Crazy.
wearing them. I'm not really picturing this. I don't know if it'll work. It might be totally stupid, but wow, what an interesting idea.
I can picture, okay, here's maybe an example. Like, you're traveling and you want to create a currency converter. And so you could just say, oh, convert this from, you know, dollars to pounds, or create an app that can easily convert it from dollars to pounds. And then when I say convert $20 to pounds, you tell me. Maybe it's very simple like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great. And it'd be kind of interesting. And I really do feel like we're moving to a post operating system, post application world where we just tell our device what we want it to do and then it does it. I could be completely Looney Tunes on this issue. We may never get there, but it seems like everything is leading in that direction. And we can only assume that AI will get better and better and more capable at doing this kind of thing. In any event, this is by far, I mean, this is absolutely the first time I've ever heard anyone even suggest, propose, or predict glasses that you can vibe code with to create
Right.
apps for the glasses. I never heard about that at all. So it's completely or I just am ignorant about it, and people have been talking about it for decades, but I don't think
No,
so.
I consider you a glasses expert.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, I have a lot. I have a great vision when it comes to glasses. So, and of course, as I
The
mentioned earlier,
jokes.
it's hashtag
What should
dad
I call
joke.
them out? What should I do?
Just
Just let
grimace
it
and move
ride.
on.
No, it's funny. I'll smile. You have to watch the video, I guess, to see the real reaction to Mike's jokes.
Exactly. Or look in the mirror. I'm sure you're having the same reaction. So it's open source, as I mentioned. And here's the really interesting thing. It's really light, 40 grams, about 1.4 ounces. This is really, really light. And so we have a device, 14 hours of battery life. So we have a device that seems to be breaking all of the physics around smart glasses. It's $300 and includes visuals. It has visuals, but it's super light. It has visuals and it has really long battery life. It's, et cetera. So this is really in a class of its own. And I'm looking forward to seeing if they deliver on all these promises. The thing that made Ray-Ban Meta glasses a thing, because they had glasses before that and everybody just hated them. Amazon had glasses. Lots of people had glasses and it really, Snap never took off. But the thing that made it take off for Ray-Ban Meta glasses was they surpassed sort of singularity of microphone and speaker and camera quality. So it was good electronics. And if they can pull this off, they're going to have a winner on their hands. If they can't, it'll be another dud.
It might be a dud. Maybe it'll give Meta, they'll have a meeting about it or something. So it'll live on through the corporations that are still here. But I mean, they're so November launch. I wonder if they're trying to take advantage of holiday sales. Like, this could,
100%.
yeah,
Yes.
could be a gift. maybe it won't work though. I don't know. It's kind of a gamble. Like, would you get that for somebody? I mean, it's $300. It's claiming a lot. It might not work.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to see the reviews, see what they say. I may ask them to send me one.
You should.
I don't do
Totally.
reviews, so they may not. I sometimes a lot of companies don't send me stuff because they know that I'm very critical, and I don't just like say it's awesome. And people, I've been sent stuff, and I've said, don't buy this; it's a piece of junk. And so there's this cautionary tale for companies sending things out when they have limited units. But $300, that's pretty cheap. Also, it has all of the bells and whistles in terms of optics. So you can get blue lenses for the computer. You can get your prescriptions. It also has a little dial to dial in. So if your vision is pretty good, you can make it perfect with the glasses, kind of like reading glasses or something like that. They're really going for it. And at the very least, it's a nice set of features for Apple to steal in
Yes.
their glasses.
Yeah, but that's cool. It's always refreshing and nice to see a breakthrough product that's actually hitting the right notes. Like when you like we do, we follow these fields so closely, and sometimes there's just a string of crap product launches, but everyone's still talking about it, and it's like, when am I going to see that this trend is even worth something? Kind of feels like this might be one of those moments for you.
Yes, absolutely. And so I think that if all the features work as promised, they still have one other problem, and that is privacy. So your glasses will be filming everybody all the time. They'll be recording everybody all the time. They'll be reminding you of people's faces. They might even be doing face recognition. I mean, they haven't announced anything like that, but certainly they have the capability to do that. You could also vibe code an app that says, okay, whenever
True.
I'm talking face to face with somebody, look them up, do face recognition, get their name, all that kind of stuff. Presumably, you might be able to do something like that. So I don't know. That's still an issue. I think there's going to be a market for, once smart glasses and AI glasses are ubiquitous, and they're all using cameras and multimodal AI, and they're doing all this recognition tasks. I think there's going to be a huge market and demand emerging for privacy oriented that doesn't have a camera. Lots and lots of people are going to reject the camera pointing at them all the time for a while. Eventually, it'll be a banality, and nobody will care, like smartphones. But
Right. It's a great point. And also with these new categories, sometimes it's hard to know when there are privacy violations. It's hard to hold these companies accountable because it's like, how does this thing work? Where would I even find or record a privacy issue? I don't know, look at the privacy policy. Is there a privacy policy for the person that you're recording? I mean, like what are the rules here? And maybe early products like this, they kind of just skate by. I'm not sure. Like how would you tell if there was a privacy issue? Do you know?
right, and Ray-Ban Meta glasses have the little light that tells you if they're recording. In my
Right.
experience, people don't really notice it unless you just right up in people's faces having a face-to-face conversation, or if you're in a dark place, like I've been in dark bars, like in Mexico City and stuff like that, and it's so dark in the room that when it's recording a picture or a video, your glasses light up the whole room almost.
Oh my
There's no
God.
escape. Like people actually
You're
turn
such
this.
a dweeb.
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
can't
Well,
be doing that. You can't be
and I
representing the US like that. Come on.
and I move in dweeb circles too, because we were at a restaurant in Mexico City the other day, and I had my Meta glasses on, and Kevin, our esteemed producer, and my son had his Ray-Ban Meta glasses on, and our Mexico City friend Francisco had he's a listener of this podcast. Hey, Francisco
Hi,
had his
Francisco.
Ray-Ban Meta glasses
You're
on,
not a
and
dweeb. Sorry.
yeah, unfortunately, they look way better on Francisco and Kevin than they do on me, but I don't care. That's the difference. And so, I think that was probably about 25% of the people at the table were wearing these things. Anyway,
Hmm. Well, more power to you. I mean, I will say my issue with glasses in general is I don't want to wear them. I mean, I think getting women to wear these glasses is going to be not easy. So, I mean, you've seen it with like smartwatches and other things. They try to create like women versions. And it's just, I think there's not even just women, just anyone who's more sensitive to their clothing or the way they physically present and express themselves.
mm-hmm,
And they don't want to look like a spy in an underground bar in Mexico. So, I mean,
yeah,
there's an aesthetic block for me. I know that's not technology, but it's kind of like the form that we have the function we're working on, but the form I'm not convinced that now I just should wear glasses.
Yeah.
That's a big leap for
Yeah.
me.
Um, I should also point out that I mentioned my friend Francisco. His wife owns them too. She wasn't wearing them at the
Okay.
table, but she also wears them, the Ray-Ban Meta glasses, and she looks great in them as well. But to your point, I think that it's a mixed bag. Right now, Ray-Ban Meta glasses get away with it because they look like Ray-Bans,
Right, which are cool and gender neutral.
gender neutral, and but they were already had sort of thick temples and thick, and that was the look. And they made them a little thicker. But they're identifiable as
Hmm.
Ray-Bans. But from the perspective of a company like Apple, they see that as an opportunity because they can sell 5 pairs to somebody who likes to accessorize with their eyewear, right?
Yep.
So, like they did with the watch bands. I mean, look at the range of watch bands sold by Apple, sold by third parties. It opens up this whole fashion thing, which is really where the money is in consumer electronics for a company like Apple. They
Right.
really want to be in the fashion business because things go in and out of fashion or overpriced. It's about identity, all these things that have nothing to
Yep.
do with just trying to race to the bottom on price, trying to fit electronics in and make a living with these electronics. So
It's
time
true,
will
and I
tell.
don't. Time will tell, and I don't want to speak for all women or something. I just, I think it's worth raising, but it is also worth raising that, like you said, a lot of women are really into these things. There are women who are vibe coding all over the world right now. I mean, there's everyone's interested in this stuff. Maybe it's less gendered in terms of the fashion thing and more just mass market, more just the
Yeah.
bridge from early adopters to anybody you see at the grocery store, like it just becoming a norm. I think it's not a norm yet,
Yeah.
but for, yeah.
I think you're right. And of course, for women who wear glasses and are comfortable wearing glasses, that's a great market. I mean, it's certainly we're getting to the point where, like people didn't used to carry smartphones around, and there was a period in the early days of smartphones where people didn't know where to put it. You couldn't put it in your
Yeah.
pocket. That would be ridiculous, right? In the early days, so people clipped it to their belt, and you still see old guys walking around with the thing clipped to their belt like they're in the Old West, right? They're going to walk into the saloon and they have the holster and all that
Concealed
stuff.
carry.
Yeah, but you see, it's a very much of an age thing. Like you see older
Right.
men do that, and then you see women putting their smartphone in their purse very often, and young women often put their smartphone in their back pocket. That used to be something people couldn't imagine, putting it in a pocket, putting it in a front
Right.
pocket, back pocket, whatever. I keep my phone in my front pocket. And the very early days of the smartphone, that would have been ridiculous. Like that's this, and phones were smaller then too. So norms change based on, things become a status symbol. And I think one of the reasons young women put their iPhone in the back pocket is so people can see it, right? It's kind of a status symbol to have, they have a cool case with the things dangling off of it and all that kind of stuff. And so you can see something like that happen with smart glasses. In any event, they'll find a way forward. And those same features that exist in smart glasses, at least many of them, could be fit into a watch. But we do know that of all the wearable form factors, the watch, the pendant, the necklace, the glasses, the helmet cam thing, the eye thing, all that, glasses are by far the most common globally. There's something like, what is it, 4 or 5 or 6 billion people in the world wear glasses.
Wow.
So
That's a
it's a
lot.
big thing that has already been accepted by the human population, right? So
It's true.
I,
Well,
I, I
the tech industry is absolutely banking on glasses as the future of hardware. So really, they better hope it works out, or they're going to have to, yeah.
isn't it amazing? So when we first started this podcast, and this is what, our 15th, 16th episode, something like that. I mean, this is a new podcast. The idea that glasses would take over the world was like, I was like, yeah, that's going to happen. And you were like, I don't know about that. And now
Yeah.
it's changed so much that now it's very clear that it's going to be huge. By the way, I have to circle back on something that's a bit
Ooh.
of shocking news that I don't feel has penetrated the consciousness of the tech loving world, which is that BAI, the wristband that hoovers up all the data and then all that stuff, they have been acquired by Amazon.
Oh, I saw that like the
Yes,
bee in a
B as
beehive.
in
I saw that.
yes.
Yes. Good point. Relevant.
Amazon is the most unreliable company when it comes to user privacy. They are total weasels when it comes to They just want all the information. I'm
They
convinced.
do.
And you can, if you
Well,
really
they
want
all
to,
do. But Amazon had the
well,
Alexa thing, and
the most of the companies drag kicking and screaming into providing minimum protections. Amazon, you read their user privacy stuff, user agreements, whatever they're called, and they're just like, yeah, we're not going to promise anything. We're going to take your
yeah,
data, we're going to upload it to a server, and we're going to do whatever we want with it till the end of time. And
we're
that's
gonna tell all your secrets
that's
and
our promise to you.
send your grandma a letter with everything you're doing online, and you
Yeah,
can't
they
sue
had
us.
their Fire Phone years ago, which we've talked about, I think, before. We press a button to take a picture, but while you're taking a picture, it also grabs a 15-second audio clip and uploads that. And just they have their robot that goes around and scans your entire house. They had their Amazon Echo product that would scan your closet so they know all your clothes and like all this stuff. They are determined. Their Amazon Fire TV thing would just like look at you and get as much information about your house as they could. They want all the data so they can sell you stuff on Amazon. That's their plan. And so for them
Mm-hmm.
to have acquired B, oh, and by the way, the latest outrage by Amazon is the CEO announced that he thinks it'll be a great idea to have advertising as part of the conversation with Alexa Plus.
Oh my! I mean, Amazon they
They're
don't
out of
hit
their
anything.
minds. It's like the Truman Show. Remember the Truman Show when his wife was
Of
like,
course,
"Oh, we're using this product," and he's like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah.
That's what they're imagining.
No one wants that. Come on, no one wants that.
They're out of their minds.
Yeah,
But anyway, I don't know how
it's
these things are being
depressing.
monetized. Yeah.
No,
Well, I
it
mean,
speaks for
hopefully the
itself.
market will reject it, but we'll see.
But they don't. Like if you look at streaming, ads are very annoying. Ads are very annoying all over, but we accept them because it's a cheaper plan or it's just part of an experience. And that's the thing is they keep cropping up in more and more places. They're creeping in, and now they already have a plan to put them, what I guess, on our faces with the glasses.
Yeah.
No, thank you at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy, but I mean,
We'll see.
there are ads and then there are kind of sort of ads, right? So Amazon is expert at this. The Amazon, what do they call it when you go to Amazon and it's a
Amazon's
recommended
choice.
choice? Amazon's choice, yeah. And it's like, okay, that's not an ad per se, but they're pretending like it's some reviewers have decided this is the best option for the price. It's really like that company's really playing ball, and there's a bunch of stuff behind the scenes that favor Amazon.
Hmm.
So it's
We
not
talked
really
about
an
this
ad.
last week or 2 weeks ago. It's a combination. It's like it has good reviews, but also Amazon makes money off of it, and also
Right.
the price is lower. So really, the only hidden thing is that Amazon's making a margin they're okay with on it.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Right. But
You're
there's a
right.
mismatch
That's
between
the secret.
the user's assumptions and the reality, and that's in that space is the business model of that
Right.
concept. And I don't like it, Emily. I don't
Who
like it
would?
one bit.
Who would? Well, at least they're fun products like these glasses that you found. That's when it's fun. It feels exploratory. It's new. Look at them. Big tech, not fun.
Yeah. And so let's move on. You wanted to talk about the
All
AI
right.
revolution, and you also had some egg related commentary about
Some
that,
egg
if I
related.
recall.
Yeah. Well, actually, one egg thought is I haven't been able to make eggs in the morning because we've been renovating my house and we have no
Mm-hmm.
stove.
Mm-hmm.
So I did get to eat some eggs this morning, just reporting that. It
Congratulations.
was very nice, yes. But my techie egg comments was I just had some interesting conversations this week, and it's just becoming very clear to me that we are breaking a few eggs, many eggs on this AI revolution. And I think a lot of people are actively getting squashed as we're
Yeah.
developing this technology. So I'm writing a feature and I'm doing the research for it about data centers and their crop. This is a story of rural America. This is not Silicon Valley, Wall Street. This is rural America. They are filling the landscape with data centers near small towns, communities, in beautiful valleys and prairies. They are putting data centers. And I've been talking to some people who are living near them, and there are community groups all over the country that are screaming at these community meetings at the developers, at the companies who are coming in saying this is your project. They're saying it's in my backyard. It's gonna interfere with my kid's basketball court. It's gonna create noise. It's gonna suck water from our reservoir. It's gonna deposit warm water into the streams and kill our trout population. I mean, they're doing all these things, this new technology and these new buildings, and people are they have no say. It's a total David and Goliath thing. And I'm talking to one particular community in Pennsylvania that they're building a kind of like a souped up power line through their homes and through this valley. And it will connect a nuclear power plant to a data center. And you know, like a power line, right? Typical power line. It's a
Yeah.
pole, sometimes disguised as
Big,
a
ugly
tree.
metal
Ugly.
towers with like, yeah.
Yeah, just the usual. Okay, so these ones they're building in people's land are 240 feet tall
Wow.
and
Wow.
like 100 feet wide at the base. They're huge. Maybe no, it's 100 feet to 240 feet tall. So the max is 240, but the base is like I have a picture of this guy. You know, maybe it's like 10 of his body across. I mean, he looks like a little toothpick in the middle.
My guess, based on nothing other than my guess, is that the reason they have to be so big at the base and the reason they have to be so tall is that the physical cables are big and heavy to conduct
Yeah.
massive quantities of electricity. And when they're big and heavy, of course, they droop between the towers, and therefore they have to be higher so that it doesn't hit the ground, right?
Yes, I think you're probably right. I haven't talked to the engineers yet, but I think that's a really good point. And so this guy, his family has owned this parcel of land for 6 generations, and he received an eminent domain notice. They're taking it to build these giant towers for a
Wow.
data center. Yeah.
We can't build a train in California because we don't want to take land from people. But man, when it comes to the new railroad robber
Right.
barons, they can take it, I guess.
Yeah, I saw the eminent domain letter. It's in my inbox right now. He sent it to me. He's leading a group of people who they're doing this to all of them, or they're not taking it. They're just putting an industrial, huge object in their backyard, destroying property values, changing the character of the community. And I talked to that utility today on the phone, and basically the summary of it was, piss off, there's nothing you can do because they have to satisfy, quote, all customers in Pennsylvania. So that would include citizens like these people, but also corporations. Pennsylvania is doing tons of tax breaks and just trying to get as many data centers as possible. And it's such a fast pace that these communities barely even know what a data center is. And they're just like, I mean, you can see these videos online. They're filling up, town meetings. Their people are screaming. It's like really, and Washington Post has covered it. New York Times has covered it. Little independent local, everyone's covered it. Like this is happening everywhere, and somehow still no one knows, and there's just nothing that can be done. It's really sad.
Okay, so I have two little trivia data points for you
All right.
to verify and consider for just a human interest in this. One is that I've read that the state of Wyoming is on the brink of becoming the first state that spends more electricity on AI than people, than residents. And they're building a new data center near Cheyenne that by itself, I believe, will suck in more electricity than all the residents of the state.
Yeah,
But I could be
that's
wrong.
true. No, I think that's probably true because some of these giant data centers. I mean,
Yeah.
as this one guy in Virginia, he works in this field, and Northern Virginia has the most data centers of anywhere in the world. He is like, yeah, they're as big as a stadium. I mean, they're as big as two Walmarts put together, and they take the same as maybe 500,000 homes is
Yeah.
one data center. So it could be you could see in a place like Wyoming with low
Yeah.
population density,
Yeah.
lots of land. There you go.
It's going to start out at 1.8 gigawatts, but they are expecting to expand to 10 gigawatts of
Yeah,
electricity consumption, which is quite massive.
it's a
Here's the
lot.
other data point.
Yeah,
So
what do you
two
tell me?
years ago, um, Elon Musk said, "Yeah, we're going to run out of electricity in 2 years. We're not going to have enough electricity to keep up with China, blah 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 blah, with AI. So he
China.
predicted that we're going to run out of electricity, and we're now at the 2 year mark. I don't think he predicted that we would ramp it up. I know California has massively ramped up its electricity production through solar in the last couple of years. But anyway, it was a prediction he made. The prediction didn't come true, but it was part of people like that kind of goading society into coming up with the electricity for this stuff. And again, I've whined and complained about this on this podcast before, but It just makes us all feel like schmucks that we turn off a light in the bathroom because we want to save the electricity,
Yeah.
when these companies are just gobbling up planets of electricity, mostly just to make AI slop for Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Sometimes we don't think about how we live our lives and the little conveniences and the effect it does have. When you're sitting on your couch and you're ordering something on Amazon, you don't think about what that would do. And actually, that's another thing Pennsylvania and these same people have gone through is the warehouse boom. So a lot of farmland in Pennsylvania has already been converted to Amazon warehouses, e-commerce warehouses, and that has also had an impact on the pollution, the trucks, and of course, you just taking up that land and putting
Yeah.
things into the local environment. So, and before that, the same people, maybe their parents went through all the coal mines. So Pennsylvania is a big coal mining history. So they carved gigantic holes in the earth and got coal out of it, made quarries, made mines, and now those are just left. So they're scarring the earth all over. Then now they scarred it with warehouses. Now they're scarring it with data centers, and the cycle continues.
Yeah. I also read a report this week about how President Trump promised to drill, baby, drill. I think he stole that from Sarah Palin, the other
Yeah.
intellectual giant of the new right. And then he got into office and he's like, all right, President Trump is in office now. Well, now we're going to drill, baby, drill. And the whole oil industry is like, nah, not really into it right now. It really, the presidents really don't have much to do with whether we have oil booms or not. I mean, they can lease public lands, they can drill in Alaska and all that stuff, opening up new areas, but only if the market for oil lends itself to radical investment by these companies. But the companies aren't biting and nothing's changing. And
Yeah, I've kind of moved on. He's
yeah,
such a man of the past, and I think some people are like, I'm
right.
not, dude. Sorry, I've moved on.
Trump has also been very pro coal, which is just bizarre for the
Yeah.
reasons you alluded to. It's just a bad, obsolete kind of form of energy that doesn't provide a lot of jobs, and the jobs it does provide are oftentimes toxic and deadly. And then he's against wind power, which is fantastic, and
Yes.
I don't know.
A point on
He's
the coal in my, explorations here. All this AI is increasing the demand for electricity and reducing the supply. So in some ways that's creating a problem. But what I'm hearing is also during the last administration, they did close some coal plants, which exacerbated the issue because it took electricity and energy generation offline. So that's something that, Trump is probably trying to undo.
yeah.
And I will say coal plants create a hell of a lot more jobs than data centers, which are just barren, fluorescent lights and
Yeah, but
poly
those are not comparable.
floors.
I mean, it's
No.
energy generate for energy generation. Solar produces a lot more jobs than coal. I don't know about where oil fits into that, but sort of quote unquote clean energy production is vastly more job creating than
Right.
old fashioned coal mining and
Right.
all that kind of stuff.
Those giant poles I talked about, they're called monopoles,
Hmm.
and they are creating a big line of them. And apparently, the Trump administration just canceled a huge line of them that were supposed to connect wind farms
Hmm.
to data centers and other parts of the grid. And that was just lobbying, like local lobbying. So that project, what's it called? Like the Great Wheat Bread Basin. It's something like that. It's like you can look it up.
Breadbasket Basin Bonanza.
Yeah, something. It was in the Midwest. So anyway,
Yeah.
that got canceled, but this one in Pennsylvania is still ongoing. So this is just, it's so easy to sympathize. Like imagine if your property and, maybe a beach house you love or that your parents built, or maybe just your
Mhm.
house that you worked your whole life to buy, you have to give it up for an AI power line. I mean,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
forced. It doesn't matter how
Yeah.
much money you have, it doesn't matter who you are, how smart you are. You just get a letter that says you're toast.
There's also the question of NIMBY in the long roster of NIMBY issues. There's the issue of electromagnetic radiation causing cancer clusters. I can imagine, who wants to live near this thing? I mean,
Yeah, because you can stay. You can stay.
right.
If they don't need your whole property, like one person, they need a corner of their kid's basketball court. So they could be like, oh, I guess I'll be here.
But then you have these things towering over your kids, and it
Yeah,
just enshittifies life to have those
life.
things looming. And of course, we need electricity production, we need telecommunications, stuff like that. We should try to bury it when we can, and when we can't, we have to have power lines and type things.
Hmm.
Yes, but there should be some quarter given to the concept of lifestyle, and having these things over schools and just towering over things and just making everything look
Exactly.
like some kind of dystopian landscape.
My grandmother lives on a farm in Pennsylvania, and when cell phones became a thing, they started dotting the landscape with cell phone towers. And they approached her and said, "Can we put a tower on your land? It's in the right spot." She and my dad and my uncles and family, everyone talked about, should we allow the tower, blah, blah, blah. And they decided to do it because the cell phone company pays my grandma a small
Yeah.
fee.
Yes.
So now there is an ugly tower on this otherwise nice farm.
But that's a voluntary transaction. There's a big
Right.
difference.
And you get paid. And
Right.
so these people, I said this example to them, and they were like, "Yeah, there's no discussion of payment. This is just a public utility.
Yeah.
They're taking our land." And
Yeah.
they also say things like, "We don't want to stop progress. Like we're not just standing in the way of everything, but at some point, it's a little ridiculous. You can't even hear, what we're saying or answer questions about health." And they're just like, "Nope."
Yeah.
So it's I don't know, it's when you get into it and you hear how emotional they are, it's difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is just the beginning. I hope that innovation and artificial intelligence will reduce the demand in the future. Obviously, we're going to just keep ramping up the capability of AI, but hopefully we can do that with lower
Right.
energy demands. I'd love to
Yeah.
see, these, I don't know, there's some hope in this direction. You want small language models at the edge, right? Would be ideal. I mean, just like electricity, where instead of having these massive power plants, you have those. Plus, you have people with solar on the roofs. You have, a solar powered car. You have, all this kind of stuff would be ideal. Hopefully, that same thing will happen with data, where your smart glasses have the AI running locally. Your watch has the AI running locally, and
Right.
offloading it from these massive data centers. That would be ideal, but we'll see where we go with that.
Well, that's why I said, like, I think maybe there'll be a big boom and it'll level off, or who really knows, but that's why I said we're cracking a few eggs in the process, and we really are. Like, people are getting really screwed.
But the concept of accept these gigantic data centers and horrible power lines because that's progress is bullshit. If there's
Yes.
pushback on all these things, then that's where the innovation energy goes into making the stuff more energy efficient, making the energy cleaner, making it less ugly, less horrible to communities, fewer, So we should be pushing back on this stuff that is the worst part,
Right.
because there will be innovation and there will be a way forward. If there's no pushback, then I say, yeah, this is just the cheapest, easiest way to go. We'll just have this really filthy energy that's ugly, that just consumes everything, screws up the water supply, all that stuff. We got to push back on that stuff if we
Yeah.
care
So
about.
if you want to check out at least one organization with the giant towers, their website is Alliance to Stop the Line, and they're on Facebook. So they would love it if you liked their page, or sent the founder an email. He's a superintendent of a big school district, and he's also in his spare time trying to stop this from happening. And yeah, one person made a comment like, "We just want to know how to best fit these data centers into our community so it benefits us, it benefits the company. Like, we want to work with them because we know this area on, like, where to put it, what the concerns are,
Yeah.
how the trout fishing business brings in a lot of tourism. Like, let's, not kill that, like local things. Like, they just like, we want to fit this in and figure out what the heck is going on." And this is totally secret and opaque. Like, we don't know what tech companies are using them. It could be OpenAI, it could be Meta, could be Amazon. I mean, you don't know who's using what data center. It's just a developer making data centers, and they're told it's total bullshit. They're just like, "We're not going to tell you what this is, but you have to give up your house."
It's awful. To me, it's part of the larger issue, which is one of the largest issues that's faced by the United States and a whole bunch of other countries, including the country I'm in now of Mexico, where you have this endlessly growing divide between the have everythings and the have nothings, and the haves and the have nots. And to a very large extent, the process of enshittifying a town for the benefit of a tech giant and its trillionaire owners or whatever is just more of that. And so we have to have a balance between, like in the case with your family where there was financial compensation. Someone's going to be making money, right? So there should be financial compensation for the people who are going to suffer so that other people can make a ton of money. And that has to be voluntary. And again, love to see a lot more awareness, a lot more intention by people who can see what's happening and can push back so that there are benefits for everyone and not just like, oh yeah, we're gonna just completely ruin your town to build a big data center to have AI that's going to take your job. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
pretty much.
We get to be trillionaires.
Yeah.
That's not the way we should be going forward.
Yeah, they should at least make the people in the town trillionaires. I mean, they're offering. So, just a quick distinction: the data centers
Yeah.
are private companies. They're not taking people's land for those. What they are is for the power lines that are a public utility that connect those data centers. So, I just wanted to clarify that quickly. But they're offering them just market value for their homes, which is
Right.
nothing. I mean, if you look
Right.
at all these press releases for how much Meta is saying, Zuckerberg's on the record, I want to build data centers that would cover half of Manhattan. I mean, he's just gobbling up all the space, and it's just a gold rush for those people.
Yes.
And it's scary. I think a lot of people have a feeling with AI like it's you're breaking into the have and have nots. We had layoffs this week. My company bought
Yeah, I heard about that.
CNET over the summer or something like that, last summer maybe. They were not doing well when we bought them. The private equity had already purchased CNET in the past and just destroyed it pretty much. And then now with AI overviews on Google, all publishers are suffering with traffic. And so I don't know, maybe like 20 to 45 people, I forget the final number, lost their jobs because of AI this week in my world. So it's that's another egg, 45 eggs broken.
So many eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all over.
But whether it's power lines or data centers, I think people need to understand how crazy, mag, how enormous this stuff is.
Yes,
The
exactly.
amount of heat generated by one of these massive data centers is it's like a nuclear power plant of heat being generated, which has to be, you have to keep the servers and the chips cool, which you use, which requires air conditioning, literally air conditioning and ventilation. Just you're as fast as you can, you're venting the heat out and air conditioning the servers. The best way to do it is hot and cold aisles, basically, where you have every other aisle it's reversed. So in one point, they're back to back, right? And you have the heat being sucked out of that one, and then the cold air being blown into the other side. It's very complicated, but we're generating all this electricity. What else could we use that power for, right? We could use that power to irrigate and turn a city into a garden. Well, that's worthless. That's just a good quality of life, and nobody gives a crap about that. Let's use that energy for AI. Okay, that makes sense because tons of money to be made there. That sort of thing, that sort of thinking. And
We could
so,
also just make electricity like no one's electricity bill would run out. You know,
right,
how about
exactly.
that?
There's a million things you could do by quadrupling the amount of electricity produced and used in the United States. And what are we using it for? To make Mark Zuckerberg even richer? Or are we using it to make life better? Are we using it to improve healthcare? What are we using it for? Like, what are our values? And so people have to fight for their values, and because the billionaires will fight for it, and they'll use their influence, and they'll cheat, and they'll do whatever they need to do to get what they want, because that's why they're successful, because they go after what they want. So we
Right.
also, as a public, have to go after what we want. Anyway, I'm not going to lecture anymore.
No, I know it's when you get into it, you start thinking our values are totally out of whack, and I think at the very least, the public can be pro technology in a way that just pushing to clarify what are the goals of this stuff. And that's what these people are trying to do. And maybe we all, especially as tech journalists, should also be doing, you know, because even the tech industry admits they don't know what the goal is with AI.
Yeah,
They don't.
absolutely. Technology is the key to our salvation. It's also the key to our destruction, and we get to pick which one it
Yeah.
is. And we should be aware of what's possible. My favorite example of that is in agriculture. I'm a health food nut. I love high quality food.
Okay.
I don't like monoculture agriculture. I don't like GMOs. I don't like GMOs in part because it's an extreme form of monoculture. The
Interesting.
end result is you have this. You go to Nebraska and it's just GMO corn to the horizon, and then you have a country like Mexico that eats more corn than anybody else, and they import their corn, GMO corn, from the United States, and is done mainly with Mexican labor. And the whole thing is messed up. It's unhealthy because it's such a monoculture, and it's much healthier to have permaculture, farming, organic agriculture, that sort of thing.
I'm pro
And
GMO
okay,
because they can be smart. Okay, keep going.
it could it could be, but it's problematic, and we should have that debate at some point if you
Yeah,
if
we
you
can
want
talk
to.
about food systems.
Yeah,
I can throw down on food
yeah.
system in
But a
a
lot
later
of the GMO,
episode.
like a very standard form of GMO, is that because of natural selection, because of biology, the pests will and the weeds will evolve to defeat whatever remedy we have in a monoculture field, right? Suppress the insects with a type of poison. The insects that can survive that poison will reproduce and multiply, and then we need a stronger poison. And so the poison gets so strong that nothing can survive it. And so they use genetic modification of the crops to survive the poison. That's the main way you do GMO. Let's stick with herbicides just to keep it a clean thing. Same thing happens with weeds. In order to have the corn or the soy or the wheat or whatever survive the poison, they have to have genetically modified wheat or corn or soy. And then it's just a matter of time before the weeds overcome even that. So that's one way to deal with weeds. Another way, which is even more high tech, is with robots
Mm-hmm.
that all night long they just slowly roll down the fields. And when they see it, they use machine vision to identify weeds, and they zap them with a laser or they do something like that. And they pull the weeds. No poison, no genetic modification, nothing. So that radically improves the food supply. It brings down costs, and it's very high tech. So those are the kind of, to me, those are the two directions we can go in. We can go toward wonderful food, or we can go through poisonous food, and they're both technology. It's not that technology is good or bad. It's just like how you do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know what's makes me think? I mean, so this farm I'm talking about that has a cell tower now. My
Yeah.
grandmother grew up there, and back then they only ate what was produced in that area. They didn't have boxed pasta. They didn't have Campbell's soup. They didn't have, I don't
Uber
know,
Eats.
Uber Eats and octopus and like whatever you can buy. I mean, there
Sushi.
was some guy that came and he had a cart from a local city and he would have a couple products in the city. But I mean, they literally ate what they grew. And my grandma's 95.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
and our farm used to be an ecosystem where
right,
you basically have owls to get the mice that are eating the whatever, and then you have you rotate crops and you have multiple things, and so you don't have locust swarms, because locust swarms happen because there's one crop and one.
right, which is not good.
If
Yeah.
you have if you have the permaculture notion is that you have maximized biodiversity, you have tons of pollinators, and if anything starts to bubble up over here, if there's some bug that's eating something, the birds from over here will go and eat those bugs.
Yeah.
That
Ideally,
sort of
it's a
thing.
system and do crop rotation and stuff. I will say the food was a lot worse back then.
Hmm.
I mean, there was no Mexican food, there was no
Right.
sushi, there was
Right.
no Italian food. I mean, there was nothing. There was
Yeah.
just,
But now we can have both. We don't have to. It's not a choice. We
right.
don't. It's not like we get sushi and like monoculture, or no. It's not.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
we
why
can have
can't
it all.
everything just work out? Because it seems like
Yeah.
it could so clearly, and yet here we are.
Here we are. Well, here we are at the end of our road here. We've almost gone an hour here on this
I know. We
podcast.
hit a nerve.
Yes. Yeah, I would personally like to thank you, super intelligent viewers and listeners, for coming with us on this ride. We're having a great time. We have a new brand image which you can check out that is rolling out as we speak. Yeah, we don't collect money from this thing. No ads, no sponsors, no paywall, no nothing.
No
All we ask from you
obligations.
is a And his point of disagreement, last time you said, yeah, any engagement, 1 star, 2 star. No. We want 5 stars. We want all 5 of them.
Well, we're trying to be authentic. If you really have a one
Yes.
star, let us
Well, I am
know.
being authentic. I authentically want 5 star reviews.
I authentically want 5 star reviews too. Did you check? Did we get any from last week?
I didn't check.
Should pull it up.
We'll check at some point. But
Okay,
yeah,
only
tell
5 stars.
yeah, tell your mom, tell everybody about this podcast. And we are trying to be a different kind of a podcast. We're real people having real conversations, but we also mostly know what we're talking about because we're journalists who explore this stuff in as much detail as time allows. So thanks again for being part of the super intelligent family of the community, however you want to
Of
frame that.
thinkers.
Yeah. And let us know. Send us email to superintelligentpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what you're thinking, what you like, what you don't like, what you think about GMOs, and so
And
on.
who you agree with.
And who you're agreeing with. Also, if you find yourself using some of the stuff we talk about, like B, or if you end up with these Brilliant Lab Halo glasses, or if you've got some new super power lines in your neighborhood, or any of the things that we're talking about, and you have firsthand knowledge of these things, we really would love to hear from you and find out what your experience is, and any other details you can give us. We'd appreciate it. So thank you very much. And we will see you next week.